What's good, everybody? Welcome back for another live. It's time to go to get it started. If there's any videos or creators that I'm going to go to react to, definitely let me know. But for today, we're just going to be reacting to some Jordan Peterson, Chris Williamson, and we'll be reacting to this one guy. He's from the minorities. His name is Zeb. So, like I said, if there's any specific people that you want me to go ahead and react to, let me know for sure. All right, we're gonna get into it right now. Let's get it. Hold up.
I've realized that it's scary when you find a thing that you're going to fully commit yourself to the pursuit of, especially if it's excellence that you're going after, because there's no more room for your inadequacies to hide anymore. You can't decide to change direction and do something else if things get tough. There's no more ejector seat, right? I've committed to this. This is my thing. And this is one of your rules, commit to something
Commit to at least one thing.
as hard as you can and see what happens. Yeah, precisely.
Yeah. Aim yourself in one direction. And I had a rule with my clients because, you might say, well, I've gone halfway down this path and I found out it's wrong. So how do you distinguish that from just giving up? Well, that's a really hard question, right? It's a moral hazard because it's inappropriate to continue in a direction you now realize to be wrong, but it's also inappropriate to give up and use that rationalization as an excuse. And how do you distinguish?
Especially seeing as we're not transparent to ourselves.
Well, right, exactly. So that is genuinely a moral hazard. So one of the principles that I tried to abide by in my therapeutic discussions was you can change course as long as the next thing you do is equally or more difficult.
That's fair.
That's a check against just giving up. So you want to discipline yourself so you can get yourself organized so that you can go in a particular direction, so that when you find the right direction, you can really go in that direction. And that does require an apprenticeship of sorts. And it might not matter in some sense exactly what the apprenticeship is, as long as it is rigorous, right? And so that's sort of a bridge between moral relativism and moral absolutism. There's lots of games you can play. It's not that obvious a priori which is the best game. So that's kind of a morally relative stance. There's multiple playable games. But then the absolute is, but you have to play one of them. You have to learn to play one of them. You have to become an expert at least one of them. And then that's not a relative proposition. And I believe that's true. That seems to me to be the case. So you want to commit to something. And then when you commit to something, you require yourself to bring all of your disparate components moving in a single direction, united in a single direction. So it's a unifying act. And then once having been unified, well, then you can bring that unity to bear on a variety of different tasks.
So that is a very interesting point that he made about committing to something, right? And he said that there's a lot of people, they commit themselves to something, they end up actually doing it, and they really can't distinguish whether they're just quitting or if they want to move on. They can't distinguish whether they're quitting or whether it is actually time for them to move on to something else. And his answer was that if you do decide to go ahead and change course, even if you are committed halfway through it, it is best to choose something that is either the same difficulty or even more difficult than that. So there's two problems that exist within today's society. Number one, most people can't choose anything to commit to. And number two, people give up too quickly. And that's just what it is. And I think that's a very, very big problem that a lot of people have, that if you were to just be clear on those two things, right? Find something that you need to commit to, and two, do not quit once you find the proper thing to go ahead and go towards. Those two things are going to give you a completely different trajectory of life once you're able to figure those and clarify those two things out and be able to act on them as you're supposed to. So if you're a person that hasn't found that yet, that is your main purpose in life, is to find something to commit to, and while finding something to commit to not give up while you're in the pursuit of that.
You have to bring it together first. So, and that makes sense developmentally. You see children start out as a disparate bundle of motivations and emotions sort of warring with one another. And then they can integrate that into single games that they can play with themselves. And then they integrate that with games they start to play with other people. And all of that is integration. It's not subjugation. It's not repression. not if it's a good game. It's integration. You want to get integrated because then you have all the horses that are pulling your chariot pulling in the same direction. And you're much more likely to get to where you want to go then, and also much more likely to specify a good place to go. So, that's that's something else conservatives have to teach young people, which is, well, get yourself disciplined. Well, why? Well, not so you're a slave, but so that you could be a master. To use a terminology that you're not supposed to use anymore. But, this is in relationship to yourself, not to others. So, yeah, and to begin with, you have to accept an external master because you just don't have the wisdom to do that for yourself, or the ability or the opportunity often. Everybody knows this. They feel bad when they decide they're going to get themselves in good shape and go to the gym, and lasts like 3
Days.
attempts. Yeah. And then
3 days, he
one's
said?
happy
Is that what he
about
said?
that.
Hold up.
3
Days.
attempts. Yeah. And then no one's happy about the fact that they quit, and they berate themselves for it. And we know that we need to go through a disciplinary process, and we need to subjugate ourselves to a disciplinary process. That's part of the problem with the constant harping about the, oppressive patriarchy. It's like, well, you need a disciplinary process. So, well, that's just oppression and slavery. It's like, no, it's not.
It's the only way.
No more than a game is. Not a good game. A good game isn't oppression and slavery.
But here's the thing, right? So if you're going to say something is not good, you should be able to prepare something. You should have something prepared that you're going to clap back with that needs to make more sense than what is already being proposed. That's a problem that a lot of people have nowadays, is they disagree with some of the things that are going on within society, right? There's plenty of things. I'm sure I don't even have to name an example. I'm sure you can think of one right now. But what they suggest as an alternative isn't even good enough to replace what is. And obviously there's nothing that is perfect that exists within even our society, right? But if you're going to disagree with it, you need to be able to propose something that is better than what it is. And if you're unable to go ahead and do that, which so many people are in many different aspects, then just live with it. There's nothing you can do. You just submit to reality. Submit to the way it is, because you can't even conceptualize something that's even better than that without having without having extra problems on top of the problems that we already have. Maybe you would solve 2. Let's just say within our society, there's 10 problems, right? Let's just say you could solve 2 of them. Well, let's just say you could solve 5 of them, right? But let's just say your ability to solve 5 problems of the flaws of our social construct would also add another 5 to 10 more problems on top of that. So you're really, in reality, you would be solving 5 problems that exist within today's social construct, but in reality, in actuality, you'd be causing about 15 more problems, which is 5 more than we originally had. So if you're going to propose something, you need to make sure it is thoroughly sound, or you're going to make yourself look like an idiot. Simple as that.
Was it being on time, being punctual was laid at the feet of some oppressive superstructure?
White supremacy, yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, it's utterly imbecilic. I mean, even at a scientific level, that's trait conscientiousness, by the way, to be punctual. Part of orderliness and dutifulness, industriousness. There's no evidence whatsoever that varies by ethnicity or race.
Or supremacy.
Yeah, or supremacy. And there is evidence that if you are like that, you are more likely.
Supreme.
Well, you are more likely to succeed. It is the most determining. It's the most potent personality predictor of success in algorithmic domains, managerial and administrative domains. So hard work works. And in fact, the degree to which hard work works is actually the one metric of the health of a society. Like the higher the correlation between conscientiousness and outcome, the healthier the society. Well, obviously. Why? Well, you want the bulk of the credit to go to the people who are the most productive.
Yes.
I mean, not even in some sense because they deserve it, because what does deserve mean exactly? It is because they deserve it, but that's a black box, that word. It's because if you want them to keep making stuff, you have to do that. And you want them to because, well, or what, you don't want food? You don't want shelter? Why would you not reward the people who provide it differentially?
That is a great point. It's kind of referring something to something that I said earlier within this short clip. But a lot of people, they propose a different way of being. Okay, let's give free whatever to everybody, free housing to everybody, or whatever, right? Or equal opportunity, or what? Not, it's not an equal opportunity. It's equal outcome. Everybody wants equal outcome. But there's going to be people that always put in more work than other people, and there's going to be people that are always slacking off. And why would you not give them exactly what they deserve? To give a person who's, let's just say, not holding up to the standard that they need to hold up to in order to live a successful or a an abundant life, right? Those people deserve their circumstance. You shouldn't just cater your society for those people to have a better lifestyle or a quality of life when in reality they didn't deserve it, right? Same for also, if you're working your ass off, you deserve everything that you deserved, and it's as simple as that. You shouldn't have this equalness, right? That doesn't even make any sense. That's not even logical, like Jordan Peterson was mentioning. He said, if you want those people who are excellent to keep making stuff, you have to reward them for that. So the fact that people can even recommend something else that is outside of reality is ridiculous. That doesn't even work, right? So yes, you are solving some problems, but you are also causing a lot more problems for the people that actually deserve less problems. So it's just a dumb suggestion. You think you know it all to suggest something like that. It's just stupid, man. It's just dumb.
Just even your own narrow self-interest would require that. So,
Talking about committing to one thing and the inevitable pain of there not being an easy get out anymore. I've decided that this is my thing. I'm going after it. I'm
yeah,
going
it's
to give it.
useful to stick a temporal parameter or an accomplishment parameter on it. That's one of the
I'll
reasons it's
try
useful
for
to have
3
a
months.
degree.
I'll try for 6 months.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going to get this degree no matter what. Well, it's a time limit. It's not your whole life, but you're committed to that. And then you do box yourself in. It's like, well, I'm in this box. I have to make the best of it. That's right. You're in this box and you have to make the best of it. So, and you might say, well, I don't want to be in a box. It's like, are you so sure you don't want to be in a box? A box is a fortress. The walls keep the dragons away.
It's
You want
foundation.
to be in a box.
It's structure.
Paradise is a walled garden. It's not a garden without walls. It's got walls, right? You have a house, it has walls. You have a room, it has walls. You don't want to be outside of a box. Pick your damn box and then figure out how to make it into a garden. Well, I want a box without walls. It's, no, you don't. It's nothing but snakes.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. We'll get into the next one. Like I said, if there's any specific videos that I'm going to go and react to, feel free to go ahead and leave it in the comments. Or if there's a certain creator that you're going to go ahead and react to, feel free to leave it in the comments. We're going to get into the next video. Give me 1 second. Let's see which one I got. Let's see what we got. All right, I'm going to react to... I didn't finish this. I wanted to react to this. It was one of my favorite YouTuber, Hamza. He reacted to... Or he was getting interviewed by somebody. And there's a lot of good content. I only watched like a few minutes of it, so... We'll tap in with it. Like I said, if there's any videos or creators I'm going to go and react to, feel free to leave it in the comments for sure. All right, come on. All right, I ain't trying to hear the beatbox. I'm good. Hamza, I love you,
Hello,
but
Hamza.
no way.
How you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Hello, how's it going?
Vegas, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Hamza. Thank you for taking this call. Madeline is joining us in a second. There she is.
Hello, Madeline. Nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Me too.
First of all, thank you so much for taking the time. I know a chat with Vice isn't necessarily on the top of many people's list of what they want to be doing with their time, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm expecting you're familiar with at least some of Vice's work. It's
Give me a second, all right? Let's make this a little bit... Make this a little bit more appropriate. All right, fine. Good enough for me.
news organization that does all kinds of stuff, and this would be what we're working on now, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. It would be a 1 hour special, but as you probably know, we do all kinds of things. My focus is usually the Showtime show, which is kind of like our flagship show. But yeah, so if you don't mind, I can start by telling you a little bit about what we're developing, what we are hoping to, the kind of questions we're hoping to have answered. I mean, you're probably aware that Vice did an hour special about Andrew Tate earlier that kind of touches on some of these issues, and this movie isn't that. It's not a follow-up to that.
It's not a
We
hit
didn't
piece.
work on that, but I mean, I suppose in a tangential way, some of the themes can be adjacent. I think what we're looking at is this sort of ongoing crisis of masculinity in men, particularly it seems in the Western world, but probably elsewhere too. There seems to be this like moment in time when men are struggling to figure out what it means to be masculine, what it means to be a man. You know, the terms that we've used traditionally for masculinity, you know, strong, silent, stoic, have sort of become negative or have negative connotations to them. So yeah, there's this interesting moment in time when we're trying to figure out what does it mean to be a man today. And
Isn't it interesting how this is a confusing thing? This is a basic, fundamental human reality, right? At least it should be, right? The fact that he's mentioning it, and it is true, we don't even know. I'm not going to say we don't even know. Society has a very blurry image of what masculinity and true masculinity looks like. Isn't that funny? Now, the question is, what is causing the confusion? That is a question you must ask. What is causing this confusion? Shame. Shame is an element in there for damn sure. We have people who have been shaming men for trying to be men. And here's the thing. If you shame men for trying to be men, they will try to act, some men, the weak men, will try to act in a way that is going to not cause as much conflict. That's just what it is. Those are going to be the feminine men, the men who aren't truly men, the men who are repressing their masculinity, and they're repressing their natural ways of being in order to socially fit in. But here's the thing. When you seek the truth and understand the reality that does exist within this world, you cannot and you should not go without masculinity. The second you do, there's going to be an abundance of problems that comes with this. And as we see in today's society, right, we have a masculinity crisis with young men. That's a huge thing. This is why I even do a podcast in the first place, is because there are plenty of men that exist that don't know the basic fundamentals of what it is to be a man, to find purpose, to build relationships, the roles that you're supposed to play in society. And of course, there's going to be a lot of people who try to blur this image by saying, oh, there's no roles, men and women are equal, and they have all this bullshit that I don't even know where the fuck you even got it from, right? And like I was saying earlier, if you're going to propose an alternative to this, right? If you're going to propose an alternative to masculinity and saying that it's bad, you must have something in mind that is going to truly be better, that is not going to cause as many problems as masculinity does cause. Because yes, I'm not going to say masculinity is perfect. Femininity and masculinity are naturally flawed, but they are needed because it's needed like a yin and yang, right? But with that being said, if you're going to suggest that one is bad or going to deem one as bad, you must have a suggestion that is going to be better than one or the other. And if you don't, shut up, right? So with that being said, there's going to be plenty of things that are going to distract you from the reality that does exist, which is masculinity and what it takes to be masculine. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, we're always going to need masculinity. Women are always going to like masculine men, and that is the bottom line. Masculinity is the backbone of society. Without it, everything crumbles, nothing gets defended, and everybody shuts up. That is not what you want in a society. That's just what it is. So, yeah, that's all I have to say for that, man.
it seems to me like people have different answers to that. And say what you will about Andrew Tate, he was a man, or is a man, that a lot of other men looked to for answers. So there seems to be this need among men and boys throughout the world to kind of figure out themselves. And I think what we're looking to understand is like kind of like what's going on, and how can we deal with it? Is this desire to figure out what it is to be a man are we sort of throwing around words like anti-feminist, misogyny? Like, are we sort of attaching bad connotations to people who are just trying to get to the bottom of what it means to be a man, what masculinity is? And obviously, you're an influential person in this space, and we've looked at some of your work, and you've had some really interesting takes and point of views, which is why we're really excited to pick your brain a little bit and chat. Does that make sense?
I love the sound of that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So, I mean, if it's okay with you, and this is obviously totally off the record, but we're just kind of like curious about what. First of all, like, how did you get into this space? What was it that you felt you had answers to that you could share?
I started by telling my story online, that I was a directionless young man who wanted to work hard but wasn't sure on what, hadn't received guidance. I didn't grow up in a single mother household, although many men in my position have. And without that guidance, life isn't so great. You get stuck in addictions, you're watching porn for 3 hours a day, you're smoking weed, eating junk food, got no friends, obsessing and fantasizing over women, wasting time. And so it began as me just telling my story because I wanted to free myself. I literally just wanted to make enough money online so that I didn't need to work a job that I hated. And before I knew it, an audience started to build. People appreciated how authentic I was being because I apparently have no filter and I tell everyone my life story. And people appreciated that. And one step at a time, I ended up leading a global movement with a huge level of responsibility. Hundreds of messages every day, hundreds of comments every day, below every single video of someone saying that this work has changed their lives, that they needed some kind of father figure or maybe a big brother figure to guide them and to tell them that this is something that they can transform their lives, they can work hard, they can be disciplined, they can improve, and they don't have to live the life that they've seen perhaps their fathers or other male friends live. Because you don't.
I think that's very, very interesting, right? So the question is this, right? This is the question that I propose. If you're going to shame all the people who represent exactly what is strength, what is true masculinity, if you're going to label them names, which most people who are truly masculine, who are influential, they don't necessarily really care about these names and the perception of society. The more masculine you are, the more you don't give a fuck, and it's as simple as that. So with that being said, right, the people who get those names attached to them, when they try to represent something that is strong, that is meaningful, that is a necessity of society, you're shunning people away from what should be the influence that they should be getting, that they need to be getting, that society needs for them to be getting, right? If you decide to go ahead and do that, who is raising the men in today's society? Who is influencing the men in today's society? If it's not those men, if you don't want it to be those men, who? Then who? And are they going to be drawn to it or not? That's what you must ask. There is going to be men that are drawn to true masculine men, as they should. That is the brotherhood. That is one of the foundations of masculinity, right? But if you're going to propose that some of the masculine creators are not good and they're misogynistic or whatever, right? Whatever label you want to put on them, right? Who are you suggesting that is going to properly influence the masculine? Because if you don't have an answer, you probably should just not say anything at all. And it's as simple as that. There's a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, these people are bad. These people are bad." Okay, give me an alternative that men are going to be drawn to. That is truly they're truly going to represent what is best for society, which is a foundation of masculinity. Without that, without a foundation of masculinity, everything crumbles. The things that you like and enjoy, that crumbles because now you're in survival mode. Masculinity allows for the foundation of society to not be in survival mode because masculinity protects. And when you have protection, you can focus on things that aren't survival. And that's just what it is. So if you're going to say these creators are really not good, but you have no alternative and you have no suggestions, just shut up, man. Simple as that.
This much in the modern day.
So talk to me about that. What is it about this moment? And I don't want to say just boys growing up now, because I mean, I certainly feel it too. Like this is a moment of strangeness for us men. So what do you think it is about this moment and not 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago?
Yeah, very good question.
Go ahead now. You got it. You got it, brother.
I'd say two major issues that come to mind is feminism and the globalization of the dating marketplace. Feminism, it started with the suffragettes around 100 years ago, an amazing movement, very brave what those women did. And it's got now to the point where it's modern feminism is largely seen as anti-men. And of course, the internet makes this worse. You see the extremes from both sides, but men don't feel like they are heard at all. In fact, one of my teachers inside of my school, he often shouts and gets like angry when we speak about male health issues because he's worked in that field, and he says that women's issues are taken very seriously by doctors, GPs. We live in the UK, so there's the NHS. Men's issues, not at all. If for us three men here, if we have some kind of issue like you're growing breasts, the doctor isn't going to do anything unless you pay private. All women actually know exactly what to do to feel their breasts, for example, for breast cancer. Most guys have never ever been told once what to actually do to search yourself for testicular cancer. I don't know, do you? Right? There was an advert once I saw, 1/4 of suicides are women. Here's the women's hotline. So 3/4 are men. No talk. 90% of homeless people are men, 90% of suicides are men, 90% of workplace deaths are men. And this is not a men versus women. I think it's very important that it's a men plus women versus the problem. But these days, there's such a rivalry, and I think it does start from, one, we're seeing the extremes of feminism and men haters. Two, we then see these injustices where you see false rape accusations, you see men who have been divorced by their wives and they lose everything, and so men are so fearful of getting into relationships these days. And, you know, it's not exactly a problem of feminism, but there was something which was unforeseen, that when women can make their own money, suddenly the man isn't needed. Now, this is not women's fault. They're doing amazing for themselves. It's amazing that you've been able to develop these values and skills. But suddenly, the thing that would have attracted a woman to a man is gone. When a man's value is no longer based on his ability to provide, well, then what should he value in life? No one knows the answer. And if you feel purposeless as a man, you may as well go play video games, because at least you're getting some sense of purpose, brotherhood, achievement, competitiveness in the virtual world. And so you see this, and then this, of course, then links into the other thing I said, the dating market, because now we have this growing divider of men, where there's a top few percentage of men who are taking all the women. Or I'll say in a different way, all of the women are going to these guys. By opening up the sexual marketplace, by being more like sex positive, especially for women, which, even though like it sounds bad what I'm saying, when you do that, suddenly women will just go with the best guy that they can get, which they're not wrong for. Of course you would. But the best guy that a woman can get is also the best guy that her female friend will get. And it's the same guy over and over again. And so there's one guy out of, let's say, 20, who slept with 16 of the girls in the other 20 group of the women. And so now all these guys here, these horny, lonely guys, their lives are they're not that good. And so you mix feminism with the globalization of the dating market with Tinder and Instagram. Suddenly the 16, 17, 18-year-old guys who, when you think back, you just have a crush on the girl in your class or your workplace or something. Suddenly she's actually going to Dubai this summer to meet a millionaire there. What are you going to do?
So obviously that is an extreme example and doesn't really happen as often as a lot of people who are in the masculine space they talk about. Um, it is definitely interesting though. A lot of the points that he made are indeed very, very valid. The globalized sexual marketplace is definitely going to bring a lot of challenges for people who haven't really built any value within the world, for damn sure. But it also should be some more motivation for you to go ahead and build some value. So right now, if you're a man and you're watching this and you haven't built as much value as you know you can build and as much as you know you should build, and you're not getting sex, then you need to go ahead and work your ass off. And it's as simple as that. You need to go ahead and make something of yourself. That should be in motivation. But here's the thing. What I see all too often is people try to rationalize. It was this concept that I heard watching Chris Williamson. He says that if people can't get what they want, they will rationalize why they don't want what they truly want, if that makes any sense. So for example, if you're not good with women, but you still want women, you'll now try to rationalize within your own mind all women are trash, and I don't even really like them anyways, and because none of them want to sleep with you, you'll try to give yourself a rationalization that'll make you that will almost protect your ego, when in reality we all know that's not the fucking case. That's not exactly what you think, right? So with that being said, the globalized sexual marketplace is definitely going to be a challenge, for damn sure. It also should be a source of motivation. You should not settle for a life outside of one that is going to not have a partner. That's for damn sure. Um, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a problem. A lot of women want the same type of men, and it's as simple as that. A lot of women will make it seem like they don't, but that's not that. If you observe anything, and if you have been in the dating marketplace yourself, you know that there's a lot of men that dominate, especially in today's society. I'm gonna reference this one study. I don't know what it's called, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I remember seeing it one time myself. I think it said 1 in 3 men ages 18 to 24 are virgins, which is insane. You're talking about 32% of all men who don't want to be virgins are virgins, right? So that means two thirds of men are sleeping around with women, or choosing a relationship, and 1/3 are not even, they literally do not exist in the marketplace of dating. That's interesting. That's going to cause problems. That's going to cause so many men need an outlet. If they don't have an outlet, they're going to seek other things that are going to be not as good. And that's as simple as that. That's why you're going to have many problems with porn addictions and video games and a bunch of other things that truly become problems, just because of the simple fact that they don't have the actual outlets that they're supposed to have, and that they truly want. So they're going to go ahead and be tempted to go do something else that isn't really good for them, for damn sure.
It's insane.
It's interesting. I mean, you touched on the majority of suicides being male, and there's all these different factors that my area of expertise. I'm European, but I've lived in America for a long time. Like, these deaths of despair have many different reasons, whether it's deindustrialization, the vanishing of the middle class, opioids, depression, whatever. There are these things that seem to outsize the affect men. But I wonder if another aspect of it is the way we men interact, right? Because you talked about how
Come on, brother.
men's health issues, depression, loneliness, aren't things we talk about. But so is part of your job then to not only shine a light on these issues, but also teach us men to be more open among ourselves, to like advocate for ourselves, or to voice our loneliness, and to sort of be brave enough to say that I feel sad.
Regardless of what he's saying, he wants to take a feminine approach to a masculine endeavor, right? The problems that masculinity have, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, whether it's not being able to sleep around with the opposite gender, whatever it is, you take a masculine approach. You don't take a passive feminine approach for a masculine problem. That's just dumb. So the route that he's going, oh, men need to voice this. they're going to go about it different. If they have a problem, if masculinity has a problem, if people who are men have a problem, they're going to go about it in a masculine way, telling other men, you need to put more work in. You need to build some value. That's what you're going to hear. That's what men need to hear. The fact that he would even suggest or even begin to suggest that they need to take a feminine approach to that is just ridiculous, man. It's not how this works.
Depressed, scared. Is that something that we men need to get better at too?
No.
Not quite. I think a lot of the modern movements, we can say from the Matrix, is for guys to open up and to talk to each other and to talk to their partners. And I think that mission has been a complete failure because men don't actually benefit from talking. I don't know the real science. I don't know how real this is. I just saw once that our brains work in a different way. For women, it's actually therapeutic to talk. For men, it actually doesn't do anything. Our lives change from action and action alone. Me and you could sit
Masculine
and
approach,
talk
like I
about
said.
our problems all day. Our problems would still be there. So it's not that we're unwilling to talk. It's that we've needed someone to see like a fault inside of us, to point it out, to criticize it and say, okay, you're at point A, here's how to go to point B, and then add some level of accountability, a little bit of shame. These days, that seems like horrible things, but if I'm assuming you've done a little bit of research on my videos, the way I talk is not nice. I sound like a massive asshole on my channel, and I probably am, but it works. Because this little kid, he needs to be told, I need to call him a pussy. I need to call him a loser. Because suddenly something snaps in his brain because it's the first time another person is actually speaking to him like this. Because all he's heard is you're amazing, you're beautiful, here's the participation trophy. Suddenly there's a guy in a bathrobe who's telling him, you're a loser because you play video games. So go and do some push-ups and maybe you'll get a bit of my respect. And that...
So there's a level of optimism there, right? There's something you can do.
Oh.
There are steps that you can take.
Of course.
But it's all based in action. It's all based in the foundation of masculine achievement. It's not based on, oh, well, let me just talk about my problems. I feel sad. It does, no, none of that shit. It's, you take action. You're a man. You need to handle your shit. Your problems are always going to be there unless you make them go away. And it's as simple as that. You cannot run away from this. You cannot take a feminine approach. You cannot take a passive approach. It's not how this works. You can kind of see that dude's been programmed in a way where he leans into the problem solving in a specific way because that's all he's known. He's been programmed a certain way. Now to suggest that for men or to even question anything, to even question it is just ridiculous, dude.
That's interesting. How would you say your message has changed as your audience has grown, and you've done this for a while, so I mean, you've changed as well. I noticed a while ago you wrote something like, we need less degenerate red pill players in the masculinity space. You said something like, the red pill is over, alpha males are cringe. So tell me a little bit about how you've seen the space change and how you've changed with it.
Yeah, good question. So before I started YouTube, I've been on YouTube for 3 years. Before I started YouTube, I was deep in the red pill space on the forums online. And even they get a lot of flack for misogyny, hate speech. I wouldn't be here today without them. Because again, I'm 16 years old, logging into this subreddit every morning on my phone. And it's just all these guys saying, stop being a pussy, get into the gym, lift some weights, work hard, meditate, read good books, stop being a pussy, stop like harassing this girl who's not even interested in you. And it's so weird because everyone thinks that that's like misogynist advice, but they helped me to not become a woman hater, even though this specific forum, the red pill, this movement is seen as like this women hating space. But I started way back then as this young, clueless guy, absolutely unsuccessful in all metrics. I was overweight, I was addicted to porn, to video games, I just waste all my time, I didn't perform well in school, I didn't get any attention from girls whatsoever. And we can say the red pill is kind of like level 1 of the progress you can make, where you'll learn that what you've been told about women is not true, that you need to be a certain kind of man and you need to speak to women in a way that you've not been told. You know, you see in the Hollywood movies, it's the nerd who stalks the girl who eventually gets her, right? It's the low status nerd who fantasizes about the girl. He keeps fantasizing. She rejects him 3 times. He's still fantasizing about her. He's still stalking her, essentially. And eventually the nerd gets her. See, guys, this is what you've just got to do. And so every guy believes that's the way, that even when a girl rejects him, he's got to be pursuing her even more. And the red pill was the first time, even though it's seen as this woman-hating space, it was the first time which said, like, if she doesn't like you, move on. Go and improve yourself. If she's rejected you, take it with a bit of respect. Say, fair enough, no problem, and go work on yourself instead. And the reason why you're getting rejected is because you're like 20% body fat. It's because you watched porn like 3 days ago, and even if you did had sex with her, you'd probably be imagining some other women because your brain's so fucked up, and also you're broke, and also your clothes are unclean. It's like, these are the things, you know, you needed your father to say, but then the fathers aren't in the household anymore. So this was all around 10 years ago, and it was 3 years ago when I started on YouTube in more of like the self-improvement space, and I didn't really speak about masculinity for a while. And when I started to venture into that naturally, as I became more of a man myself, I saw the rise of so many other guys speaking about the same things, about becoming a man, becoming strong, becoming masculine. And one by one, each one of them has been silenced or has been hated on for saying the same things that I'm saying here, that men should be strong, that that men should develop values of discipline, of stoicism, that men should have a strong mind and body, that men should be around their brothers, that men and women play different roles, which I think absolutely they do. Every religion says that, every spiritual book says that. Men and women, of course, have different roles. It's just the modern world which has told us that men and women are exactly the same.
Bullshit.
Which has really taken the beauty out of everything. Even for a working relationship, to say that you're exactly the same as a woman, it's almost an insult to both of you, because you bring uniqueness with masculine energy and feminine energy, and it's like we're all just wearing masks, pretending that because we're all scared, right? We're like, of course we are. Of course, we're all equal. We're all the same, and more and more influencers are coming into this space to reveal that that's probably not the truth.
Just on a more sort of nuts and bolts topic, when you do your videos, how much do you prepare for them, and how much? I mean, because you're a very eloquent, clearly a very intelligent, well-spoken person. So how much do you think about what you want to say? Do you have a plan for each episode, or is it just like, are you just jamming?
I find the answers as I go along.
So to you, this is almost like a search for yourself too. You're looking for something as you talk about it.
Let's say my YouTube videos are one step behind me. I take the step, I report on what happened, and then I take another step, and I report what happened.
So what would you like to see happen for yourself, if the assumption is that we're all on this journey to become better human beings? Where would you like to go? Which is a pretty big question.
It's vague as hell.
Fatherhood.
A good one.
Thank you.
I was just at my daughter's elementary school graduation a couple of hours ago.
How was it?
Good time. It's good. Cried a little bit. I'm not ashamed to say. There was one kid who got the perfect attendance reward, and I just wanted to shout "nerd" at him, but that's fine. Hurl some abuse at kids from time to time. I could have this conversation for hours, but and hopefully we'll be able to. But do you have any questions for us? How this might work?
What's the title of the documentary?
Not up
Great
in the
question. We're not there yet.
That's the one that everyone hates to come up with. I mean, also it's a little bit like the path. We create the path as we walk, and oftentimes the title of a project comes out of something that has been said throughout. So I can't help you on that one.
Okay. Well, one question I have is, often these documentaries and interviews I've seen with influencers in my space, often they end up turning more about the influencer, about his potential misogyny or hate crime or something. How much is your documentary going to be based on men's issues compared to, for example, speaking and highlighting the problematic aspects of the male influencers in the space?
Clap back.
Um,
Subtle, his hesitation of you can kind of tell he's like, fuck, this guy's onto some shit already. Watch, let me go back.
Of the male influencers in the space.
So
Hesitate,
this, yeah,
hesitate,
so like I told you,
hesitate.
this isn't a follow-up to the Tate doc, right? Obviously, we're going to have to touch on Andrew Tate because he was such an influential figure in this. But I think the answer to that is that Tate allegedly did some messed up stuff that he's being tried with, but he also had answers to some questions that a lot of men have, and I think that's what we want to focus on. What is the hole or the gap or the need that whether it's male influencers, whether it's male retreats, whether it's experts on masculinity, like what is this? I mean, I think for me as well, it's a little bit of a personal journey because it's something I'm curious about myself. So if you want us to do a Hamza Ahmed profile or like a portrait, I don't think this is it. But I think the issues that you speak to are what we would like to explore.
That sounds good.
And I think ideally we're looking for someone like yourself who is very influential in the space, kind of giving answers to people, but we're also hoping to talk to young men and boys who are seeking that stuff out. So we kind of want to fill both sides of the story as somebody who's, and we're casting around for voices that represent both of those perspectives. So it's like, you know, if you're in a position of influencing, we want to find somebody who is being influenced or is looking for guidance and like tell the full story there.
Yeah. I think we want to get out of these sort of somewhat bad faith arguments around this stuff too. You know, you hear so much about like hundreds of thousands of boys turning into Andrew Tate. And it's like, well, that's a horrible thing to say. Like all boys aren't the same. And like, you can't say that hundreds of thousands of boys are going to grow up bad because of the internet. That's a very low estimate to have of boys and men. So I think we want to just kind of ask some big questions and snoop around for the answer. But it's not about what the masculinity or male influencer sphere is or isn't. That's not what this is.
That sounds very valuable.
I hope so. It's something that I wanted to do here in America for a long time. So I mean, hopefully we can do it on a more international scale. So I think what we would love to do, if you are you in Britain or are you in elsewhere?
Yeah, I'm in the UK.
Are you from Birmingham, by the way?
Nah, from Manchester.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought I could detect some Brummie in there. But I mean, I think what we would love to do is we'd love to come and sit down and talk with you and sort of whatever access you choose to give us. Like these documentary, like it is a documentary. It's not just a straight up interview. Like we would like to see how you work a little bit, but that's completely up to you and your comfort level. I mean, obviously you're a media savvy person as well, so you know how these things work.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So I think
Kept that shit really short.
yeah, if you'd be up for it, if you'd be up for it, we'd love to find some time maybe next month to come spend some time. And you don't have to answer right now. You can think about it. And
yeah, please send me the details via email. I'll check my calendar for you, and we'll get something booked in.
I love that. I love that. Tom, Madeline, do you guys have anything to add? We can also send you some other stuff that we've done that's sort of representative of our work a little bit too, if you want.
Please.
I think a kind of nuts and bolts question I have is like, could you tell us a bit, is there a team around you? Like you have animation in your videos? Are you editing them? Kind of like who is in your ecosystem of production and how big is that team?
I did have a YouTube team of 14.
With questions and requests for help. Fans, I mean, people do you interact directly one-on-one with your fans? I mean, people must contact you all the time with questions and requests for help. How much of that is part of your day?
Every day, solid half an hour, 1 hour directly with people on video calls, and inside of my private school, that's where they've got a lot closer access to me. So they write posts and comments, and I reply to those. So I'm in very frequent contact with my fans.
And so, and this is something we can talk about when we sit down, but is there like a general sentiment? Like if you were to sort of reduce the sentiment of the young men you talk to, like is it frustration? Is there anger? Is there confusion? Is it a little all of the above?
There's hope.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I hope we can.
It's one hell of an answer, I'll tell you that.
Hang out with you. This is really interesting.
I'd love that.
Wonderful.
Is there anyone else in this kind of on this topic that you think we should be paying attention to? Anybody that you're watching that you really love?
First man.
Anyone that we should, we're on YouTube just like trying to absorb as much of this as we can. Anyone we should be paying close attention to?
And also the flip side of that, any pitfalls that we should avoid that the media tends to fall into.
Yeah, there's not a lot of trust with modern media, so I'm not sure who would take the call. Of course, I've got my own networks.
Yeah.
I think Andrew Tate would be your best bet.
Again?
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that will happen again, but
no, and he would just be such a like. There's so much out there about him already, so then it would just be the Andrew Tate show again, and I don't know how much we can add to that. So,
is there anyone else who's inspiring you when you're thinking through these issues? You're like, who's kind of an intellectual partner in this?
Where I'm learning everything about men and women from, masculine and feminine energies, from this book.
It's Way of the Superior Man. David Data.
The author is David Data. I'd be extremely surprised if you end up getting Data, because he doesn't do interviews. He's a actual spiritual teacher, doesn't use the internet and everything. But if you end up getting David Data on a talk, I am totally convinced that this book is the future of male and female dynamics. And that's what I'm preaching to.
Is it new?
No.
Oh, no, this is 20 years old. But he's been predicting these things for a while. And the spiritual guys, they know what they're talking about when it comes to these intersexual relationships. And I think this is what the red pill's catching up with now.
Let's get 3 copies of that book. Right? All right. Well, we'll let you get back to your day. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hamza.
So yeah, that was okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's good to see different perspectives. Of course, they were questioning him because they want him to maybe expose something that they don't know, but they pretty much got everything that they pretty much expected out of him within the interview, at least through my observations. We're gonna to the next one, and then we'll go ahead and end it off.
What's tomorrow?
This is gonna be a little bit more of like a fun, energetic type of vibe, but hopefully you guys do enjoy for damn sure.
What's tomorrow? Filming?
A whole new day. I don't even like thinking about tomorrow, Nick. All we got is today.
Oh, just hold on. Let's see this. This is game, man.
You been laying around all day? You ain't been productive? You that bad. I got a homie that calls me every other day and he says, "What you accomplished today? What you accomplished today?" You feel me? Like,
that's a good question.
It's like, bro, what did you do today that was productive? Did you have a productive day today, or you been slipping up? But why do you have a spirit?
You need
card
it.
so
You
when
need that
shit goes
accountability.
south, you're not stranded? Why do you always gotta have bitches on the roster so that when shit goes south, you're not stranded? The game is everywhere if you just look. Types of people that are proactive, people that are reactive. Most of the world, and this goes back to like feelings, they let their feelings dictate how they behave. They let the world, the weather is cold, so you feel cold, so now that you act a certain way. Essentially, it's like people who move based off feelings and people who move based off principles.
Yeah. Some situations it's gonna be a bad situation. I got with a girl who I thought was a good girl, and I got fucked over. That's just part of the game, and that's why I say it's all a bet. You might make what you feel is a safe bet, and you end up getting fucked over. And most dudes growing up, you know, we're taught we're taught how to treat a girl, and we're taught how to be likable. Oh, you know, buy her flowers and take her on dates and hold her books to, carry her books to class. And I think that's why so many dudes have fucked up situations too, is because growing.
Hey, on top of that, let me give you something, right? Women are not raised they're not raised in a way that's going to cater to a man. Let's just say that. I know people will get mad about the terminology and shit. Well, I don't care. Women are not raised in a way for them to learn how to treat a man in the first place. That's just what it is. I find that as an interesting aspect of society growing up, you're taught, oh, make sure you open the door for her. Make sure you open the car door. Make sure you get her flowers. Make sure you take her on dates. This and this and this and this, right? How the hell are women supposed to treat men? And why the fuck is that not also taught when it comes to young women? You're supposed to treat a man this way. If a man does this, he needs to. If a man were to do this, this is how you help him out. Men like this. You need to be a woman that is like this. Why is that not the same thing? It's always so overly emphasized for men when men grow up, or in society. There's so many examples. Oh yeah, when you need to be a gentleman, you need to. Let's just say there's a puddle on the ground. You need to take the jacket off your back and put it on the ground, right? But yet there's no element of society where they say, okay, this is how you treat a man. Let me give some game to the women, the young women, right? This is how you treat a man. There's none of that. Why not? That's ridiculous.
Most dudes are taught how to be liked by girls, but not how to be attractive.
A good skill people should learn in general is just being able to just being compatible with like damn near everybody. I feel like I could damn near
Be a
communicate.
chameleon.
Yeah, like I could be able to get along with having people skills is such an important skill in life. You know what I mean? Just
That'll
knowing
get you
how to
everywhere.
communicate with people, even if he's the nerdy guy in school. You should be able to relate to him, or at least communicate and have a cordial, good relationship with him, just like the cool athlete guy. And a lot of people, they just stick to their cliques. I'm cool with that people, we do these type of humor, but when you can join multiple different lunch tables and be cool with everybody, and I think that's just a very valuable skill, knowing how to communicate with people.
Up kind of to what you said, as far as like, why wouldn't a dude be cool with his girl hanging out with other dudes, or like having guy friends, or going to the club? It's like, the question I always ask girls is, would you let a car thief would you let a car thief try to break into your car, being that even though you trust the car has great locks on the car? It's like, you're not just gonna park your car in the hood where car thieves might try to break into it.
Absolutely.
Here's how you handle that. If you have a woman that's trying to suggest, having guy friends and like this, right? Like all that type of garbage. Here's how you deal with women like that. You find another woman who understands the basis of human nature and human behavior. That's what you need to do. Find a better woman. That's my suggestion, right? People, they try to make it work with people who aren't working for them. Like, as far as like they're not working with them. Why would you try to make it work with someone who's not making it easy for them to work with you, right? It just doesn't make any sense, right? For me personally, my girl, and even before I had a girl, I always mentioned on many different podcasts where I'm talking about, there's no way I'm accepting a girl who wants guy friends. Why would you need any other attention, right? There's no good explanation for why a woman would need to have external guy attention outside of her brother, her father, and her man. There's no other good explanation. Oh, no. There's none. I haven't heard one woman when I proposed and voiced my boundary and my standard, which that's what men should do, right? You should voice your standard and boundary. If they do not rock with that, that's fine. You cut them off. Because you only really want to rock with people anyways if they're going to abide by your standards and boundaries. It's simple as that.
So in the same sense, appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, man. You cooking right now.
So in the same sense, it's like, why would I want my girl just chilling with other niggas? I know their intentions. Whether you might be oh yeah, they're just friends. I know niggas. And niggas is trying to fuck. So it's like, I'm not going to just let him try to break into the car.
When a child misbehaves, I blame the parent.
Right.
When soldiers misbehave, I blame the general. You know what I mean? So when an intern misbehaves, you blame, the teacher or whoever, was appointed to teach that person. So I look at it like these bitches is wilding, and it, for the most part, is because niggas ain't doing what they supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So because we talk a lot of shit. I don't have issues with girls.
Right.
I never had no issues with girls because I move correct. And so if more niggas moved correct, bitches when they would fall in line. You know what I mean?
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. Not
Everybody has a price.
It just depends what you stand on. What do you value? Money, or do you value your character?
Bro, right now,
morality.
If a big ass fat bitch right now said, "I'm giving you Zeb 30 million right now to knock me down,"
because I could make 30.
You a dumb motherfucker. I'm pitching 30 million, bro.
No, sure.
You fucking a fat bitch for 500,000 right now.
I fucked fat bitches for free. So obviously, I would fuck a fat bitch for 30 million. What I'm saying is, I'm not gonna bend. Fucking a fat bitch isn't me bending my character or bending my morals. Now, if you say suck my dick for 30 million or do some crazy shit, I'm saying
okay, that's different.
But that you said everyone has a price.
No. I'm talking about.
So sure, if it's just I'd fuck a bitch for 20. Bitch, just give me some bread. Sure,
That's what I was saying.
But I'm saying this.
You said integrity, nigga. I'm like,
I'm just saying. I'm not.
He's just talking about sex.
I'm talking. Yeah, you're talking about.
See, here's the thing, right? You get this narrative within society where people are like, oh yeah, well, just do anything and everything for the money. Right? Money's above everything. Money's above. You see what I'm saying? They move like money's above character. True, good, moral character. They act like money's above their values and above their standards in life. That's not how this works. Money should not be above any of those things. Those things should be worth more to you than money is. The fact that we even have this narrative within society where there are things that are not placed as of high value on somebody's value hierarchy as money is ridiculous. Money should be probably within your top 20 of values, of things to value. That's for damn sure, right? But people make it seem like, oh yeah, I'd do anything for $1 million. That's ridiculous. I can't even believe the amount of people who would compromise their character, compromise their values, compromise their morals just to have some money. Money isn't everything. You cannot take it with you. And here's the thing. Your reputation and the way that people see you is much more valuable than money could ever be. It's as simple as that. There's plenty of examples, right? There's people who compromise their character, right? They compromise their integrity. They compromise their image for clout, right? Yeah, they have a lot of money, but no one respects you. What's the point of having all the money in the world or what people would want if nobody respects you anyways? What are you doing it for then? You either get both, or you try to get both. Yeah, come on. You know what I'm talking about.
Sex. I'm just talking about when it comes to morality and shit. There's certain shit that you're not gonna bend your character for. Even within myself, I find that typically whenever when I'm focused and I'm having a very productive day, I'm typically not entertaining any women at all.
Facts.
I only start entertaining bitches typically. And find like I get distracted by women when I don't have something that I'm chasing, and so I feel like so many dudes, they don't have goals, they don't know what they want to be in life.
Facts.
And so it's the quick pleasure, you know what I mean? They just going, let me try to get a bitch. But I feel like if people have goals, if they know what they want to do in life, and they could attack goals, then they'll get less distracted.
See, that's the
facts.
Right? Bitches bragging about getting dick is like you bragging about paying for pussy.
I don't care.
No, but I'm talking about to bitches because you have women who think like, oh yeah, I fucked X amount of dudes, or they literally like the 18-year-old who fucked 50 dudes, right? This was a real
crazy
story. I know a bitch who she literally like she thought she was cool because she fucked 50 dudes, and it's like. They didn't fuck you for you. They fucked you because you gave them free pussy. In that situation, they're not fucking you. They're fucking you because you're giving them free money.
See, listen,
they don't like you. They like your money.
Changing your circle if it's necessary.
Okay.
And how some people, like for example, when you think of rappers, they never want to leave the hood because they don't want to switch up. That mentality of like, oh, you change, you don't kick it with us no more.
Okay.
But it's like every other aspect of your life, you upgrade. You live in a nicer house.
Yeah.
You buy nicer clothes. This, that, and the third. But when it comes to, certain people in your life, some people are just stuck on, and it goes back to, value versus venom. But
I agree.
And there was one quote he said that it stuck with me, but he was like, kings don't hang out with peasants because they went to school together.
Don't throw pearls before swine.
Hold up. I want to mention something with that. That was good. That was an interesting thing, right? There's a lot of people who don't understand that you can value two different things at the same time and still choose something else. So here's the thing. There's a lot of people, they have two different things that are in value conflict, is what I'd like to call it, right? They value one thing and they value another thing, but they choose one of the things and they compromise a value, right? You must understand that you have a value hierarchy, and there's going to be certain things that are higher up on that value hierarchy. And just because you value something doesn't mean you don't value another thing. And just because you're sticking to this one value doesn't mean you chose the right thing to stick to or choose. So, for example, talking about being in the hood, right? Or you intentionally not trying to get out the hood just because you want to keep up this image, right? Of just sticking and being in the hood, right? You might value being in the hood, but you also might value something that is greater than that. And just because you want to maintain this image doesn't mean that you might not value something else that is higher than that. And that you shouldn't change your decision making based off of the fact that you value two things, but this one's of greater value, but yet you're choosing this because, you see what I'm saying? Come on now. So you got to choose the right thing. You got to understand that there's going to be plenty of situations where you value two things at the same time. And just evaluate this and observe this within other people's behaviors, right? They might value two things. For example, I'll give you an example, right? Some people value comfort, yes or no? Of course, people value comfort. There's people that value comfort and they value health, right? Just because you value both doesn't mean you just act on the comfort just because it's easy and convenient. You act on what is health, what is good health, what is physical competence and physical discipline. That's what you act on. You can value both. You must be careful on what you act on, though.
Not everybody is worthy of your time. Not everybody is worthy of your attention. Not
Facts.
everybody is worthy of this game.
Facts.
Have standards. Not every bitch is worthy of the dick.
And that's
Facts.
the thing. Don't be reactive, be proactive.
Yes. A lot of niggas, they allow the world to determine how they feel. People treat them good so then they feel good. But when people don't treat them good, they feel bad. That got a lot of likes on Instagram. Now I feel cuter. That didn't get likes on Instagram. I don't feel as cute. I don't need to wear designer to be fly.
Absolutely.
I don't need a nigga to think I'm fly to know that I'm fly. I don't need a bitch to choose. At the end of the day, winners win, losers lose.
Winning
Facts.
has to consume you.
I don't gotta win in that category. I don't gotta pimp on the blade. I could pimp the ear. I could put her on that carpet. I could put her on that webcam. So if it don't work out in that lane, that don't mean I didn't work out. That means that didn't work out.
That's game.
You know, being able to distinguish value versus venom. There's some things in your life that are just providing venom to your life. So like you say, cutting off certain things, even if it's not conversations or if it's not people, it might be certain foods or certain entertainment.
Talk about it.
Instead of following certain people, you know, they're really just providing venom to your life. Whereas this, you know, following this will provide value to your life, or hanging out with this group of friends will provide more value to your life. So that's something just in life in general, being able to distinguish and you know, what's providing value to your life compared to what's more so just venomous to your life. Like some people are just so stuck in certain situations that's really venomous, and then they end up getting killed in the hood or just bad things happen. And it's like people they think change is always necessarily bad, and it's like you can't grow unless you change. You know what I'm saying? But because the dude basically asked me, he's like, how do you become more valuable than money? And I said money isn't the greatest currency. I said attention is a greater currency than money. I said
Facts.
attention and respect are the greatest currencies.
I agree.
Facts.
I said respect. I said attention. You think when people have money, what do they typically buy? They buy things to distinguish themselves from other people to get attention. They buy the jewelry so that they're distinguished from other people. They drive the fancy car, so when they pull up to the club, it's like, who is that?
Yeah.
They buy things to essentially get attention. So attention is a greater currency, but even more important is respect, because even if you have attention, if people don't respect you, it's
That's
pointless.
Fact. That's fact.
It's like the example with the streamers nowadays, right? They do goofy shit just to get attention, right? No one respects them, but they can have anything and everything that they've ever wanted because they chose value. They value something like money over something like respect or like true good moral character. You must understand that just because you might value money doesn't mean you do anything for money. You need to be very, very careful and understand that there are things that are worth higher value than money. And that's how you must move. You must understand that that is lower on your value hierarchy, and you must act like there's something of higher value, which is your character, which is respect, which is attention, like he had mentioned. But don't just because you value money doesn't mean you just do anything for money. That's stupid, dude. That's just dumb.
I said attention and respect are greater currencies than money. So to answer his question, I'm like, how do you be greater than money is
be able to walk into a room, get attention and respect. And if you can do that, you're more valuable than money. You got to pay the full price to success. What's the price? Your time, your attention, your work. How much hours did you put in? They say it takes 10,000 hours to master a craft.
Facts.
Did you put in your 10,000? You
Facts.
can't get it for 5,000.
It's a lot of hours.
You can't get it for 2,000.
Facts.
You have to spend every hour on your craft. And hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. We gotta work on our presentation. Presentation speaks before you do.
Relationship is a gamble. We're both taking a risk. It's both a gamble. You might get your heart broken, get fucked up, lose the bet. I might get my heart broken, get fucked up, lose the bet. Make a safe bet. Some people, they lose one bet and they're like, fuck gambling, fuck love. You know what I'm saying? But relationships are a gamble. And
What do you bring to the table? Why should a bitch choose you? When these niggas name their favorite rappers, you could say why they would want him. He's successful, he got money, he got, why would a bitch choose you? It gets quiet when you ask a nigga that.
Facts.
I only deal with bitches who wear red. Bitch gonna start throwing all her blue dresses away. I only deal with bitches who feed me every day. You deal with what you tolerate. If you literally just have the mentality of, I only deal with bitches who X, Y, and Z, then that's the only bitches you're gonna deal with. You might have fucked up yesterday, but all you got is today. And you showed up today. Don't throw pearls before swine. This game is valuable. This game is treasure. Not everybody's deserving of this game.
Where's the buck?
Shame is good. Shame. People act as if shame is bad. Shame is good. We shame pedophiles. We shame things that are negative. You shouldn't be this. We shame. I mean, they say you shouldn't fat shame, but it's like you shouldn't be proud of being unhealthy. You're literally killing yourself. We shame dope heads. Like you shouldn't be a crackhead. Like shame is good. We shame things that are negative. People just don't want to be shamed for their bad decisions. They want to smoke every day, but don't shame me for it. They want to sleep with the whole neighborhood, but don't shame me for it. I want to eat myself to death. Right? The biggest killer in the world is what? Heart disease. I want to kill myself, but don't shame me for it. No, I'm going to shame you for your bad decisions.
And here's the thing. You must always shame people for their bad decisions. Because here's the thing. We live in a society where it is okay to do a lot of things that are truly not okay doing. That's the thing. And the lack of shame in society is going to perpetuate certain problems that shouldn't even be had. You shouldn't have a problem of people that are overeating. You shouldn't have it. It literally goes against being a human being and what human beings have always done. You're literally not moving, which is that's a whole nother other discussion, right? But at the end of the day, it comes down to this: if you're gonna not shame, or we live in a society where shaming is neglected or shaming is looked down upon. Recognize that that's not good. Because that is going to perpetuate behavior that is not good for the person and not good for the overall society. If you shame and hurt somebody's feelings, at least you have their best intent in mind. At least you're probably telling the truth. And both of those things are going to be of higher value. The greater benefit of society in telling the truth are going to be of higher value than letting somebody literally eat themselves to death or literally do whatever. And their emotions are going to be temporarily heard, but at least they heard the truth of what they needed to hear, and that is of higher value. And everyone should value the truth over a lie that is told just to cater to somebody's feelings. It's ridiculous, dude. Come on.
Woman who you'd want your daughter to be like, and so would I want my daughter? No disrespect, but doing porn, I want it. So me and her wouldn't be compatible on a long-term type situation. But being that she's attractive, I fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
don't try to impress. Just be impressive.
Facts.
I'm an impressive nigga off the rip. Presentation matters. You know what I mean? But we already have it. When you have the perceived value, you don't have to convey value. You could, but you already had. Like Bill Gates, we know you got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just a regular average dude who goes to the club tonight or whatever this weekend, he don't got it. He don't have the perceived value. He doesn't walk into a room and people go, ooh. So he has to try to convey it by wearing the nice shit, or doing the certain shit, or just he has to be loud to be seen. But when you're already seen, you don't got to be loud.
Always exercise your pimping. I mean, not literal pimping, but just always date your girl. Kind of like we should say, do it every day. Never. I've caught myself, it might be a week or 2 weeks where I kind of have a moment of self-reflection where it's like I'm getting too comfortable. You know what I mean? I'm so used and comfortable with just we chilling at the house every day. Let's sprinkle in occasionally. Let's go out somewhere. Let's do something nice. Let's create go jet skiing or something. Let's like I say, continue to date your girl. It's money or girls or just anything. I try to just have an abundance mentality of like, if
abundance
I
mindset.
miss out on this, I'm gonna make more. You know what I mean? And not being scared to just, if I lose her, I'm going to get another. You know what I mean? Having that confidence.
Yeah.
There's this famous quote, people with no purpose distract themselves with pleasure.
Facts.
And so a lot of people, they spend years chasing pleasure, whether that be video games all day,
women,
chasing girls, partying every weekend. They wake up 10 years later and they realize I wasted my 20s chasing fun.
Wow.
Really was just chasing distraction, but it was disguised as pleasure. Or they were chasing pleasure disguised as distraction.
Wow.
One thing advice I give on our Patreon is I'll be telling people is invest time, don't spend time. So when I say invest time, don't spend time,
use it
instead of
strategically.
spending time playing video games, if you can somehow find a way to make video games profitable, you're investing time.
Jesus could be walking right now and nobody would know. They laugh at him because he ain't got no followers. He only had 12 friends. What does that mean, Jay? That means stop letting the world define you. Define yourself. Jesus had 12 friends and you sad because you only got 100 followers on Instagram? You feel like you
Talk
not
that
worthy
shit.
or you not as cool as a celebrity because he got more followers or more friends or more popular or nicer clothes? This shit don't make you. I don't keep score. I just keep scoring. You might have fucked up yesterday, but all you got is today. And you showed up today. And that kind of touches on, we gonna get straight into the quota today. There's no discounts to success. This shit don't go half off.
It's not on sale.
It's not on sale. That
Facts.
means every day you gotta pay every dollar to really succeed. That means every day, every hour you gotta put that in. You wanna be the greatest? There is no discounts. You don't get this shit half off. If you didn't put in the hours of Michael Jordan, you won't be a Michael Jordan. If you didn't put in the time of LeBron, you won't be a LeBron. The time of Lil Wayne, you won't be a Wayne. There's no discounts on this shit. You don't get this shit.
This is facts. If you want to put in work, let's just say you admire somebody that has done something great, right? And you want to be just like them. Just know you're going to have to put in the time. You're going to have to make the sacrifices. You're going to have to take on more responsibility. You're going to have to change your identity. And you can't do one without the other. You can't have that or be that without doing what it is required. Here's the thing. There's a lot of people who want success within this life and they just talk about it. They don't act like they truly do. I think it's absolutely laughable when I observe somebody and they're telling me, oh yeah, man, just one day I'll do this and this and this. And then I look at their actions daily and I'm like, brother, you're doing the same shit that you did 5 years ago. You're doing the same thing. You're just 5 years older. You just had lost 5 years of your life doing the same thing, continuing the same habit, and upholding the same identity that hasn't even served you. So how the hell are you ever going to get there? You're not. So it's like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So if you have this expectation that you want to achieve greatness, just know greatness has a price. Here's the thing. Most people are not willing to pay the price. They ain't got enough.
Half off. It's expensive. It's priceless.
With anything that you're tripping off of, I don't like my girl dressing a certain way. I don't like whatever the fuck. There's a way in which you can get her on the same page. In a relationship, y'all need to be on the same page. Y'all team, y'all family. It's not so much women are terrible or men. It's not it's not a battle. I'm trying to figure out how is this team going to be most successful. We got to be on the same page. So
winning team.
When I give certain advice, this is what's best for the betterment of our team. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And she got to be on the same page. If you're not on the same page, no problem. Go fuck with somebody else.
Facts.
Go play with another team.
Whatever.
Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. If you don't like something,
Facts.
change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. If you don't like something, change it. You don't like your body, change it. If there's something you can't change, right? Your height, then just change your mentality. People are one of the greatest resources. So by investing in certain people, by having different networks and having different connections, by building all these different bridges, you have
Says she's a
multiple
3.
different
Crazy.
routes you can go in life. Different people can help you in different situations. You could help other people, they can help you. But yeah, being part of different tribes is so healthy. And so many people are part of unhealthy tribes. People
Facts.
rub off on you. Your tribe's gonna rub off on you. So what tribe are you affiliated with? And that's another reason why even if you got a girl, her friends should be in relationships. Surround yourself with people in relationships.
Absolutely.
With families. Y'all got similar values, similar goals.
Yeah, the thing is, right, the thing with this is there's so many people who want to win who are hanging out with losers. And they know they're hanging out with losers. You must hang around with winners. People who like to win. People who do what it takes to win. You can't expect to be winning when you ain't around people who know how to what it takes to go ahead and win. That's the thing. I find it very, very interesting. It might even require getting new friends. It might even require making new friends, which obviously is a lot more difficult as an adult. But at the same time, it's like this, right? Is there a better option? There might not be. You need to be around winners. You should feel like you deserve to be around winners, and winners should feel like they deserve to be around you. if you're being and doing what you need to do and what you know you should have been doing, it should be a little bit easier to be surrounding yourself with those winners.
With hella single friends, it's like all the type of shit her single friends typically want to do probably aren't in alignment with what she should be wanting to do.
I'm just trying to emphasize, like, bro, you gotta stop looking up to motherfuckers. Damn, in high school, she was my high school crush. Then once you become a certain person, it's like, you hear Tupac talk about that, like, hold another tangent, but it's like, that same is a nobody. And now she's like begging to get you. I remember Tupac said a quote, he was like, he'll be in the club, no one gave a and like the very next day after selling like a crazy hit, he's like, the same people, they can't sit next to him without going crazy.
Every aspect of your life has to embody greatness. Everything.
Facts.
From the way you eat, from the things that you watch, from the way that you dress. Every aspect of the game should be like, he's different. I should be able to look at you. What I say, your presentation speaks before you do. Presentation should speak loud. See, this is the issue with us. When you have perceived value, you don't have to convey value. So if a bitch already know that's $1 million nigga, you could dress like this and just, because you already had the perceived value. This
Facts.
gets so deep. But tomorrow don't exist and yesterday don't exist. Today is all we got. You gotta understand, we've all taken losses. That's part of the game.
Part of the game.
Part of the game.
It goes back to like the tribe shit. It's like, be able to wear different masks, be able to hang out with different groups, be able to be a chameleon. You could be the businessman like 50 Cent, but at the same time be that dude comfortable in the hood. But also be able to sit down with businessmen and be respected. And some niggas is just on some hood shit. They get in a room with businessmen and they just ignorant. Why can't you got different masks? You should be able to do the ghetto shit and the sophisticated, how you doing, sir? Be diverse. You feel me?
That's the thing. Everybody wants to eat, but nobody wants to hunt. You gotta love the process. You gotta love the process just as much as you love the prize. They like A's on their report card, but they don't like studying.
All right, that's all I got for today, fellas. I appreciate everyone for watching today. If there is a specific creator or video that I'm going to go ahead and react to next time, feel free to go ahead and leave it in the comments. But I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoyed and got some game from today's videos. If there is a specific video like I'd mentioned, feel free to go ahead and suggest it to me for sure. Make sure you go and follow me on Twitch, TikTok, Rumble, and on Spotify at Life of a Champ Podcast on every single platform. Next podcast is going to be on Thursday. Next live stream, I'll try to do one early tomorrow. React to some music and, just react to some videos. So if that is something that sounds like you would enjoy, feel free to go ahead and join tomorrow. You guys have a good rest of your night. And like I said, tap in with the next podcast on Thursday.